Hey guys, good morning. Well, at least it's morning for me. Today we are going to be doing a foundation review and wear test. And if you saw my last video, you already know which foundation I'm going to review. Or if you read the title of this video, you also know which foundation I'm going to be reviewing today. That foundation is the Becca Ultimate Coverage 24-Hour Foundation. I'm so excited to try this foundation. I got this in my BOXYCHARM box yesterday. I have not played with it. I did open it yesterday, but I didn't pump it or swatch it or anything. This is still very, very brand new. And I got this in the shade Cashmere, just based off of reviews and different photos of this specific shade that I saw online. I figured it would be the best shade for me. And in the bottle, it really does look like a pretty decent shade for me. The packaging alone is stunning. It is very, very weighted and heavy, and it is all glass. It feels super, super high-end, so I'm super excited to give this a whirl today. And of course, you see my uneven skin tone. I don't have anything on my face so far today. It is still early in the day. It is 9:30 in the morning. First things first, I do want to start with a primer because I want to give this a very fair and honest review. And if I'm being honest, I would never ever just put foundation on my face without putting some kind of primer on. So today we are going in with, of course, I use this all the time, we are going in with the e.l.f. Blurring Primer Serum. And I'm just going to be blending this in just around my T-zone and under eye area. I feel like this isn't best for an all-over primer serum because this for me doesn't necessarily, you know, blur all of my pores. If anything, I like it because it blurs a lot of the fine lines that I have under my eyes. I wouldn't necessarily call this a pore minimizing primer at all. Okay, and what I love to do when I am reviewing and testing out foundations for the first time, I am going to be applying this foundation with a beauty sponge on this half of my face, and then on the other half of my face, I'm going to be going in with a foundation brush, and I do that just to see what kind of application I like best with new foundations. There are so many foundations I prefer using a beauty sponge with, and then there are some foundation that I have to use a foundation brush with. So I'm gonna stop my babbling and we're just gonna go ahead and start out with testing this foundation. Let's get into it. I had already dampened a beauty sponge, and this is a brand new sponge. I have not used this yet, so it doesn't have any leftover products from a different foundation on it. Again, I do want this to be a very fair and honest review. So we got a damp sponge, and I am just going to be taking one pump for this half of the face with my beauty sponge. Alright, so that is a very thick foundation. That's kind of what I prefer. I don't like when foundations are super runny on my face. And it does have that paint smell that is very typical with foundations, so let's go ahead and just start applying it. Alright, I mean, for a full coverage with the sponge, at least, it could have done a better job kind of covering up the blemishes that I have going on. I have a feeling that I'm gonna like using a brush better. That's just me, but I don't want to say that before I use the brush. It literally just didn't cover up any of my blemishes at all. I don't know if you can see, it does have a bit of a sheen to it. So hopefully once I set this, it's gonna settle in a little better, but without setting it, I can already tell that it is going to be very, very dewy and oily. Since it does say ultimate coverage, I think I was expecting more of that ultimate coverage. But again, that could just be the coverage with a damp beauty sponge. Let's go ahead and try it with a brush. And I am just going to be applying this directly to the skin because I don't want my brush to absorb kind of that first impression of this foundation. I hope that's not too much. That seems more than the first pump. Let's try. Okay, so I can already tell that, of course, I already knew I was gonna like it better with a foundation brush. It did have a bit more coverage with a brush than the blender, but it looks less cakey with the sponge. So, definitely more coverage with a sponge, but more of an even consistency with application with a blender. For now, my conclusive results without setting it. Maybe in the future I'm gonna be using a beauty sponge, but I'll probably just work it up to get more of that full coverage. When I applied it, I did kind of dabble over my eyelids quite a bit, and I can already see that my eyelids are already creasing. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but they're already creasing, and I mean, this has only been like 5 minutes. I do have hooded eyes though, so that's also probably a play on this also. I'm just gonna go ahead and take my sponge and dab it into this side. Maybe it'll make it look a little less cakey. This is helping. This is definitely helping the side that I use the brush on give a more even distribution of this product. Okay, I'm definitely loving the look of this more now. It's kind of warming up to me, so I'm getting a little bit more excited rather than being discouraged. It is also already creasing around my nose. So I feel like this is a foundation that you have to set right away. So with that being said, let's go ahead and set this before it starts creasing even more. And what I'm going to be going in today, I'm going to be using the e.l.f. Make Me Matte setting powder. This technically isn't a setting powder. You're supposed to mix this with your foundation. I don't like doing that. I don't like feeling like a scientist when I'm doing my makeup. I don't want to whip up a concoction. So I like to just put my foundation on, and then I like to dip a beauty sponge or brush into this and just set my face with it. And I'm just gonna go ahead and use the other side of my beauty sponge to go ahead and set that. Oof, and already with the setting powder, I am loving the way this is looking. It looks very, very smooth. And that's even with me having very large pores around my T-zone area. This looks really, really nice so far. And I'm just gonna be using that exact same technique on my other side. All right, guys, and after setting it, I feel very, very good about this foundation. I do have smile lines, and since it's already creasing around my eyelid and my nose area, I really hope I don't get creasing around my smile area as well. Okay, and since we're here, I'm just gonna go ahead and finish the rest of my face. I'm gonna add some life to my face by adding some bronzer, blush, and all that jazz. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that so I can go ahead and run my errands for the day and then come back and check in with you guys to see how this foundation is wearing. Alright, and I'm going to be keeping my makeup look very simple today because I'm just running errands and I don't want to do all that jazz. But I'm just going to be honestly coming back home and probably binge watching The Hills for the rest of the day. I don't know why I'm so obsessed with shows like that. I'm a sucker for bad TV, I guess. If you guys like bad TV, anyone watch The Bachelor? And I'm actually going to be going to The Bachelor live with some of my friends next month. So I'm super, super excited for that. I'm just trying to help this creasing situation that I have going on my eyelids right now. Hopefully when I conceal and set this, I won't have any more creasing. Okay, that is definitely better than it was before with just the foundation on my eyelids. Okay, and I just want to add a little something something to my eyelids, nothing crazy. And I'm just going to be adding a little bit of mascara today. I'm not going to be going in with any kind of eyeliner or anything, just a little bit of mascara. I'm going for that more natural look, if you will. we got some lashes on our face. Alright, and I'm also feeling like it is a gloss kind of day. I'm just gonna moisturize my lips like a barbarian. Love me some Burt's Bees chapstick. I'm just going in with the NYX Butter Gloss. This is in the shade Maple Blondie. Kind of matches my nails. Oh, look at that. We are in spring vibes. It's only February 8th, but I'm feeling springy. Almost forgot, I'm gonna add some bronze to my face, and I'm just going in for the Wander Beauty Trip for 2 Blush and Bronzer Duo. The bronzer. I don't have a bronzing brush with me right now, at least I don't think so. Nope, definitely don't, so I'm just going in with a little contour brush, and I'm gonna be dabbing that in and bronzing my face. So I'm gonna stop this segment right here so I can go ahead and run some errands and do all that jazz. It is 9:57 in the a.m. Let me go ahead and do some grocery shopping, and I'm gonna go ahead and check back in with you guys in a little while. Hey guys. Alright, so it's not that late in the day. It is actually only 3:33 in the afternoon. So it has been a good 5.5 hours since I have applied this foundation, and honestly I kept checking in the mirror and so far so good. I haven't really been getting any more creasing since the eye issue this morning. I do look a little oily even with setting it with the e.l.f. Make Me Matte Setting Powder. I typically don't have a super oily complexion. I have very dry combination skin. I do get oily in my T-zone, but where I'm seeing oil is like all around here and all in my under chin area. But overall, it's holding up pretty damn okay. And honestly, I'm super proud of myself for picking the right shade for once. I didn't know if this was gonna oxidize or anything throughout the day. It hasn't, so that's another plus. I mean, now that I know my favorite way to apply this foundation, and I know that I just have to just touch it up a little bit throughout the day, this is pretty okay. It's not my favorite. This foundation was hyped up so much. The hype on this was so real. Do I think it lives up to those expectations? Not fully. It's a great foundation for what it is. I don't think I would spend $44 on this. Yes, this is what that retails, and it's not that I have a problem spending that much money on a foundation. If you guys know me, one of my favorite foundations ever is the Estee Lauder, and that retails for $48, $49, I think. And I have no problem buying that. I would buy that every month if I had to. But for the Becca foundation, I don't know if I would spend that. But since I have it in my possession, because it did come in my BOXYCHARM box, I am gonna use the hell out of it. I'm really not trying to be such a negative Nancy about this foundation. I think it's great, but it's not the best. I don't know. I mean, I guess because it was hyped up so much, I thought it was gonna really have that ultimate coverage, but it doesn't, and that's okay. Honestly, it's a basic foundation. I hope this wasn't too much of a negative review for you guys. I don't know, man. Try it for yourself. If you guys like this video, go ahead and give it a big thumbs up just down below there. If you want to see more, just hit the subscribe button. It's just down below there. It's right there. It's super easy. Just click on it. I'm gonna shut up. I'll see you guys soon.